Welcome to another episode of the roughly related to reselling podcast. I'm Perry, Pothead Picker on Instagram, and we're back for another week. I think this is episode 6, but it's probably 5. I did a bunch in advance, and it's actually crept up on me, and I'm like pretty much going to be caught up to where I'm at now with the podcast. So it'll be like a weekly thing. So I did like 5. I think I did 5. I want to say I did 5. This could be 7. Who fucking knows? I don't know. I got to go back and then look. I should just do them all at once, but I just do them when I have time. So it took me a while. It's been like a month and a half or something, maybe longer since I podcasted. So, a lot to talk about. I've been taking notes. I have a bunch of notes, but I don't really need them right now. I just got back from vacation. It's the middle of December, so right in the middle of Q4. And we went to Florida. Fuck, I might be that tired. I'm already yawning. Kids have been sleeping better, but I'm still fucking tired. So, went to Florida at the end of November. I was all excited because I thought that there would be some... Hold on, let me see here. I'm not hearing anything out of my... Hello. I'm hearing it. Okay. I don't know why I couldn't hear myself for a second. And so I was all excited because it's supposed to be yard sale season there. So we got there on Saturday, and it was like the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And so I don't know if like the holiday combined with just being later in the weekend, but there weren't really any sales. So Saturday, we got there super late, so it wasn't like I was going to go out. So Sunday I went out, and there was I followed a bunch of signs. Man, there was so many signs, yard sale signs, just everywhere. And I couldn't believe it. My brother-in-law is in law enforcement, so I told him about the task force. I don't think he took it too seriously, but great way to bring funds into the city. And in Florida, you can use alligators and shit as punishment. You know what I mean? Like if you know where they live, you can leave live alligators in their yard or something. You know, just throwing it out there. So anyway, yeah, drove around a bunch, followed a bunch of signs that turned into nothing. So I was kind of disappointed about that. But I did hit some thrift stores. So I got a few things. I didn't get any home runs, but I got, $20 here, $30 there. There was a couple things I got that were $50 to $60 in value. So I got a bunch of it listed, or at least, pictures of it, and then I'll just put it up when I have time. So that was cool. I did a bit my birthday was that week. So for my birthday, we went out to breakfast, and then while the baby was napping, we were staying at a friend's house, so my wife stayed there, and I just went to the thrift stores. There was a bunch of them in the condensed area, so I got to hit a bunch of places and get some stuff that, got an AC/DC band T-shirt from or a concert T-shirt from 2015. It was, nothing crazy, but they had some the prices were so cheap where we were at. There was one place that the prices were crazy expensive, and you can probably already guess where it was. It was at Goodwill. But every other place I went to, it was I was spending 50 cents here. And everywhere I went, they were oh, everything's half off. So it was 50 cents here, $1 there for stuff. And then Goodwill was crazy. They had, it was a $6 million man toy from 1974. And it was cool and great shape. And they wanted $40 for it. But then when you look it up, it's like that particular one wasn't going for much more than that on eBay. So it was just kind of like I had to leave it. But it was cool. I'm not like a fan of that show. As soon as I sit down, I start yawning. I wasn't yawning at all, but I'm like, as soon as I sit down to do a podcast, I start fucking yawning. And I'm sick again after going on vacation, so that's fun. Everyone had COVID in my house but me. Don't think I have it. I haven't actually tested, but I don't. Whatever. I haven't really gone anywhere. And so I apologize for all the sniffles and fucking annoying noises. So yeah, the prices were really good. So I got a bunch of stuff, and then like the day that, like the next weekend, we were in Orlando, and so I was like, oh, I'll see if there's any yard sales and stuff. And there was some, but of course, like none were near where we were at. They were all like 30 to 40 minutes away. And so I left the hotel. And as soon as I left, I was regretting it because there was so much traffic. And yeah, I went to like 2 sales, and it was just, you could tell it was these old ladies that have sales all the time. And it was just all a bunch of junk, and just, yeah, really not worth it. Not worth the time to do it. So anyway, yeah, so kind of disappointing because I thought that there would be more sales. But it is what it is. I had a good time still with the family. So, and then, yeah, besides that, yard sale season kind of came to an end. The last few weeks weren't like crazy great. It's kind of nice that I like taking a little break. Like, I don't really go out much on the weekends when there's no, like, even estate sales. Like, it has to be a good estate sale because you got to go early if it's a good estate sale. So it's like a whole thing. But, like, there was actually an estate sale a couple weeks ago that I didn't get up early and go to. And I showed up late, and I still could have got some stuff. There was, like, the stuff that I wanted. I saw a couple people walking off with. Like, just then walking off with it. So I probably could have gotten, if I had gone there a little bit earlier. But, it's nice to take a couple weeks because I go so hard during yard sale season. And this yard sale season, again, wasn't so great. I hope that the pendulum swings backwards. And next season, it's really good. I still found some good stuff, but just not like I usually do. I did have a huge video game haul, like right at the end. I think I talked about it in the last one, though. But that was about when, that was about when I podcasted last, I guess. So Thanksgiving just happened. That was fun. I didn't have to do it because we were going out of town, and my cousin offered to do Thanksgiving, so it just kind of worked out that we didn't have to, we cleaned the house. I started doing this thing like anytime we go away for a couple days. I mean, because the house is always such a mess with the fucking kids running around, that like we clean the house so that way when we get home, it's clean. And then the kids just fucking destroy it in 5 minutes anyway. So, and then it's Christmas time's coming up. So I've been doing, that's the other thing. So I was worried because the vacation was like coincided with Black Friday. Like, well, it was the day, Black Friday was Friday, and then the Saturday, the next day, was when we went on our vacation. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to be going away, and people are going to be like buying shit on Black Friday. So I got all my orders out, and then I had like 2 things after I went to the post office on Friday. So it was small enough. I just gave it to my mom. She sent those out, and then everything else was on time away. And I was worried because I was on time away that I wasn't going to get any sales. And I ended up doing like over $1,000 in sales while I was gone. So that was nice to still be able to sell shit. And then when I got back, I just shipped everything on Monday. So, yeah, it was cool. And I ran a sale, too. So I ran like a nice little sale for Black Friday, the week of Black Friday. I think I'm going to get ready and do a sale again because I did have a lot of sales when I was doing that. So I've got a lot of inventory I'm trying to move. So I tried to get a storage unit the other day, and they're all online now. So like you can't really go look at them, but occasionally, in my area, there's storage units go cheaper. So there was this one unit, and you could see like a GameCube controller, but you couldn't see anything else in this bin. But there was like 2 gaming chairs, and then like a retro TV, and then everything else was just kind of in boxes. There was a good amount of stuff there, and so I was like, oh, I'll bid. In my head, I'm like, I'll bid up to like 300. It was at like 240. I was like, I'll bid up to like 310 or something like that, and just based on that, because you can't see anything. You're just basically gambling at that point. And this fucking unit went for like $830. So I'm like, how does anybody, you're just gambling with almost $1,000. But I mean, I guess if you've got it and you've got the time to empty that unit, it could be worth it. It could have been a ton of collectibles, gaming shit. So, and who knows how much higher it would have gone if I had tried to bid. So there's no way I was going to spend that kind of money on it. And so, especially since I have like a ton of inventory like to go through as it is. So just didn't make sense. It's in the middle of football season right now. I'm in the fantasy football playoffs in both my leagues. So far I have an 8-5 record in both leagues, so I'm pretty consistent, I guess. So we'll see. My record, my team's better than my record, I think, indicates. I should have won a few more games in both leagues, but made some choice decisions in the middle of the league. I blame it on sleep deprivation, but we'll see. It's fun. So it's always hard when you're spending that much, not like even time, but just like mental energy caring about it. It gets towards the end, and you're just like, you're kind of ready for it to be over, but it's also, you're doing well, because you have to like do well every week. In order to do that, you need to like pay attention and do this, that, and the other, and so we'll see what happens. And also, it's good, to get some extra money towards that time of the year, extra untaxed money. So, okay. Yeah, I'm like going on to like the stuff that I wrote down. I've wrote down a bunch of stuff just in the time that I've been not podcasting. And so it was like, I can't remember where we were going. We were coming home from somewhere, and it was like later in the day. And we were on this highway, and it was like one of those moments where you just like get this weird feeling. And so we had to pull over because my youngest daughter, she's always sticking shit in her mouth. Like, not just sticking shit in her mouth, but like she'll stick her hands in her mouth and like choke herself. And of course she gets a reaction, and so she does it more, and she thinks it's funny. And so she did something, and we thought she was choking. She like started, like, she threw up or something, and so we pulled over. And I remember thinking, like, I don't like this. This highway is just making me feel uneasy right now. And so my wife was out of the car in the back seat, and then as soon as I like thought that, there was like a car accident right in front of us. Like, both of the cars like slammed into the guardrail. And they would have slammed right into us had the accident occurred like, 100 yards ahead. So it was like a weird Final Destination moment that happened. I remember just thinking like, I don't want to be on this highway right now. So yeah, that was pretty fucked. Kids were in the car, so then like, I was spazzing out. I'm like, get in the fucking car. So we left and drove off. Everybody was fine in the accident. They were fine, but we would have been fucking my wife would have for sure been like either paralyzed or dead. So yeah, crazy shit. Crazy. And yeah, I always write shit down, and then I just like decide to Um, I just decided to abandon it. I'm like, it sounded funny and not even funny, just like something that I would want to talk about in the time. Oh no, I didn't talk about the video game haul. I wrote down that I did want to talk about it. Okay, so I can talk about that. So yeah, like right towards the end of the yard sale season, I went to this sale. Like I had driven around to a bunch of sales, and they was all right. They were decent. Um, but then there was this moving sale that wasn't starting until like 11, and so I got there a little early, and like they had a ton of shit. And so I walked up, and this one kid had like some Yu-Gi-Oh shit from like the 90s. So I got like a bunch of these Yu-Gi-Oh toys, and his prices were pretty cheap. And so I'm like, oh, do you have like any old video games like this? And he's like, oh, I just have this. And it was like an Xbox One console. So I was going to grab that. And then I look over, and there's like a bunch of old video games. And so I'm like, oh, are these yours? And it was like, apparently it was somebody else's at the sale. So I ended up buying like a bunch of the old video games, as well as like the stuff from the other dude. And like they had two different people go doing sales. And so yeah, I ended up, it was like a bunch of Sega Genesis games, a bunch of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. So just all a whole ton of shit. And I'm like, how much do you want for all of it? And he's just like, oh, 150. And so I sold like a couple games and made my money back on it. But that was like one of the better finds of the end of the summer. I put a picture on my Instagram of a lot of the stuff. But he also had like a little bag full of these video game instructions and like the little Poke Tracker for Pokemon Soul Silver. And yeah, so I just basically was like, oh, how much for this little bag? I was like, would you do $3 for this stuff? Like I had a little handful of stuff. That's how much cash I had left. I didn't feel like having to run out again. And so he was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so I got that. And there's a bunch of like Pokemon instruction manuals in there. So I'm thinking of just keeping them because I keep most of the Pokemon games I find. I think that in a few years from now, they'll be worth a lot more money. I think Pokemon stuff in general just will be worth money. I just talked to my little cousin at Thanksgiving, and he's like, I don't know, 8 or 9. I forget. But he's big into Pokemon. He's like telling me about all the new Pokemon shit coming out. So I don't think Pokemon's going anywhere for a while. Like that was the age I was into Pokemon, and like, there's so much Pokemon shit that kids are into now. So I think definitely the Pokemon shit now is a good investment for later if you can sit on it. But there's certain stuff I just keep for a while. Spawn's another one. That might be a lost cause. I'm waiting on that next Spawn movie. I have a bunch of Spawn toys that I got in an auction a few years back, and they're just up in my mom's attic in bins because they're not worth like a ton, but it's like I think that they could be worth a little bit more down the road. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? Might just be worth wasting space. Yeah, it sucks when yard sale season ends too. Because you think about the deals that you can get at yard sales, and it's just it just sucks having to wait. It's cold. Because if you go to estate sales, it's like you have to go so early, and again, it's cold, and you're just like, and the people that go to estate sales are just insane psychos. Like, they're not. I feel like people that go to yard sales aren't as bad as the estate sale people, and you get better deals at yard sales. I don't know why they're not as insane about yard sales as they are as estate sales. But you can't like just get to a place and park and wait in your car. Somebody has to come and get out of their car. They look in the windows, and you have to like then like assert your dominance and be like, oh, it's fucking here first. And then there's a sign up sheet. Like if you don't bring your own sign up sheet, it's a whole fucking thing. And it's just almost never worth it to go to estate sales. Because the first day they always overcharge you unless you know them. There's a couple places that I'll go to their first day sales because you don't have to go too early. But it's just, yeah. There's one guy, he sends out an email like Friday night So you never know if he's gonna have an estate sale until like Friday night. And sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they're not great. But it all really depends. And when I have the kid, I can't really get there that early. It's just kind of crazy. Man, some of the shit that I wrote down, it's just I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It's like this is not helpful. None of it's helpful. Oh, this is kind of helpful. So I went to a book sale, used book sale, and I found some good shit at used book sales. I think I've talked about this before. I mainly look for like video games and stuff, but I think I had gone to this particular book sale before, and I think I found comic books. But no. I apologize. This was a new sale because I remember I finally went in. So I had my daughter with me, and I get to this sale, and I pull over, and we've got like a brand new car, and I hit the curb, and it fucking popped a tire. I'm like, bro, how do you pop a fucking tire? Like, these tires were huge. So just completely pissed at myself. It's hot. This is in the middle of the summer, so it's hot. So I had to get out. My daughter's in the car, so I had to change the tire. And then, like a fucking idiot, I put the jack under the wrong tire. I started jacking it up. I don't know what I was thinking. So I switched it, started jacking that tire up, fixed it, and then finally I was like, all right, we'll go into this book sale. And it was like, I was like, maybe it'll be worth it, all that. And it was not. And I ended up having to buy a new tire. Oh, man. So that weekend was just kind of a bust. But yeah, that was one of the dumber things I've ever done. And I wasn't even like, a lot of times when you're looking for sales, you're like, oh shit, I gotta fucking whip this bitch around. And you do some reckless shit driving. Let's be real, we've all done it. And then, but this was just like, I like rubbed the curb. I thought I was closer. I thought I had more space or something, and just popped the fucking tire like an idiot. I was really a pain in the ass. So, yeah. It happens. The other things that I have written down here, it's because I can go by this because it's a little bit easier. I finally sold some Fenton. I don't know. I might have talked about that. I got the Fenton at like an estate sale. And they were like these hideous lamps. Like I think I talked about it. But I finally I had them up for local pickup. And I didn't really want to have to deal with it. So finally I was like, I had a bunch of people message me about how much for shipping. So I just finally boxed them up. I made sure I protected them really well. And then listed them like that, and they sold like within the day. So ended up paying $40 for them, and I sold them for like $500 or something like that. Maybe less. I don't remember. I have to look. Between $400 and $500. So it's still a good ROI. I apologize. Let me drink some water because I'm still getting over being sick. Been fucking sick for. It's like I was just listening to because I had a I did the hold on a second. Sorry. I was just listening back to the podcast before because I've been putting them out weekly. And it was like the one where I was talking about how the kids were sick. And it's been like that again for like another month. Where like everybody's been sick except for me. And they finally fucking got me. I mean, my kids like scream into my face, cough into my face. So it just was inevitable that we would get sick. So, oh yeah. So since the last time I podcasted, we've I know you're supposed to be friends with your neighbors and stuff, but we've always been we had some like weird neighbors and shit. I've talked about them on here before. So I got invited to like their kid's birthday party randomly, and I went over there. But that was like, when you go to meet people for the first time, and you're just like, you don't know anybody. But it wasn't that bad. It was pretty chill. You just never know what to expect going into situations. I don't know where I was going with that story. I think I've already talked about it, so I didn't really want to. And if I didn't, it's not that exciting anyway. So, whatever. Middle of the holiday season, and like I said, I think I'm going to do another sale. I'm hoping that things pick up a little bit. I've been trying to list a lot more, but I listed a ton like on the flight back, the flight to. In between, I listed every day. After I'm done with this, I'm probably going to do a little bit of listing. I know, you just constantly listing with eBay. We're going to get pizza tonight. Oh, I'm excited for pizza. It's been a couple weeks since we got pizza, like good pizza. So anytime it's been a while for like pizza, you just got to get excited for it. Oh, I apologize. I had a lot more energy earlier. I thought I was going to do... Oh, I know what I remember. I got a PlayStation 5 finally. I kept joking with my wife. I was like, oh, the 5 stands for, 5 years. It only took 5 years to get one. Sorry. That was... But anyway, it's fun. Playing the Spider-Man game, I'm not like super impressed with it. Like, there's parts where I'm like, I like forget that it's PlayStation 5, and I'm like, oh, this kind of looks like PlayStation 4. I don't know if it's the TV. It might be the TV. But just like some of the animation and shit. And some of like the shit that happens with the controls. But I'm very excited. I was playing the demo. There's like a demo on it that teaches you how to use the controller. I was playing that and I was having a good time. I should probably go back and play that. Finish that. But I was having an issue with my PlayStation sign-in. And of course they don't apparently work on the weekends because people, PlayStation games aren't really an emergency situation. So there's no real reason for them to be open on the weekends. I guess it could be an emergency situation if like you had to contact somebody who, like somebody got kidnapped or something, and then like they only talk to people online, and you had to like get online and contact the people that they talked to discover clues to figure out where they were abducted to, or like where they went missing to. Yeah. Huh. The recently sold section on Facebook Marketplace might be my least favorite section of any internet tool or resource that I use, because I see something that I'm like, oh, this is a great deal, and then it'll be like recently sold. You're like, oh, that's why it was recently sold, because it was a really great deal on video games. And it's always stuff that you want. So it'll be like, you'll see something, you'll click on it, like, oh shit, and you'll go to say, like, send them a message, and you'll see, like, sold, the fucking red cross thing through it. Anytime that happens, it's just so infuriating. I hate it. They need to get rid of it. The whole Facebook, I've complained about the Facebook app before. I sound like a fucking boomer. I hate that I have to use it. I hate that, like, and I check, you know what I mean? I don't have to check as often as I do, but like, that's your best chance of finding stuff to sell. So I'll go to Marketplace and check, but like, it's just so garbage. And the recently sold might be my least favorite of all time. Because it just shows you shit that you missed out on. It's like, why do I need to see what recent, like I guess so you can see and can be like, oh, this is what's selling. But it's just, I don't get it. I don't get why they'd have it. I don't get why you can't opt out. Like, I always try to just exit off of it, and it doesn't let me. Yeah. I sold a Bible that was narrated by Darth Vader, James Earl Jones. So that's cool. It was like he did like either the New or the Old Testament, and that's some other fucking nobody. Imagine being the other guy on the James Earl Jones Bible reading. You had to do the other Testament next to James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones, like, I mean, when he wasn't old and fucking frail and shit, sounded like, I mean, he was Mufasa. He kind of sounded like God. I'm sure he's played God at some point, his voice. And then you got somebody else who's got to read. I don't know who it was, but I feel bad for that person. Unless it was like Sam Elliott or somebody like that. But, or Morgan Freeman. But it wasn't either of those people. So, you're just kind of fucked. You're just the other guy. It didn't even have that guy's picture. It just had James Earl Jones' picture. So it's like, you know, this is why you're buying this Bible. But anyway, I got it for $2 and I sold it for like, I don't know, $25, $30, maybe more. Pretty quickly too. So I usually fucking don't. I try not to pick up Bibles, not for any religious reasons, just because unless they look like old, you know, or like they look unique, or you know. And so that one I figured would be unique, and it sold. So yeah. Ugh. How are we doing on time, man? 30 more minutes and I'm getting exhausted. Oh yeah, so as I just recently said, I don't know if my wife can hear me. I don't think she can hear me. So recently said she was our birthdays. So she's a little bit older than me, and it's kind of occurred to me that I can teach her incorrect slang, like if I wanted to. She just doesn't know. Like, I'll say something. I don't use slang often, but I'll say shit just like kind of jokingly, and she'll just look at me and she won't know what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh, you've never heard that expression before? And she'll just be like, no. And so I've thought about like teaching her incorrect slang, but I feel like she would know. She would put two and two together. Like, oh, he's just fucking with me. But I don't know if she would. Have to see. I might have to take a break to take a friggin' nap. I don't. Or cut this one short. We did the Polar Express last night. It was cool. It just is like a late train, so we got home late and got everything done late. And of course the kids kind of slept shittily. If that's a word. Because they were just kind of, I don't know, excited or what. But it was cool. There was this one kid that was working there because they have like these little child actors. And it's funny because they're like, when you get to the North Pole part, so you go on like an actual train and they do like the Polar Express. It's almost like a living play. It was just like a more unorganized version of a play. And so they had like these people that dress like the chefs in the movie Polar Express or the book, I don't know. And they're supposed to be like, you know, kind of like the entire time they're like talking to you. They passed out hot chocolate and like shortbread cookies and all that shit. And that was cool. And then they do like little dances and shit. But there was this one kid, you could just tell he was like, he had like his fingernails painted black and shit. And like, he looked kind of emo. And he talked to us like for a little bit. But he just, at one point he was just pacing and he would do this weird awkward thing with his arms. Where it was like he was half dancing, like half like going to the rhythm. But he just did not look like he fit in at all. And so my mom, who had gotten us the tickets, she asked him, she was like, oh, you getting your steps in? And then after that, he wouldn't walk by us anymore because he had been found out he wasn't doing what he was supposed to. So then we got to meet Santa. That was cool. They gave us all these little jingle bells. We dropped ours and we think the people behind us stole it, but whatever. We had like 5 of them or something like that. So we weren't too worried about it. And then after that, it's like, 'cause it was a pretty long ride. And then it goes really slow. Like getting there, it was like quick. But then on the way back, they just go so slow because everybody's meeting Santa. And oh man, it takes so long. I think my wife just got the little one up. You can hear it crashing around on the second floor. But yeah. What was I talking about? I don't know. For some reason, I wrote down like screen time now versus the 90s. But how TVs were just always on back in the day. Now we do TV for a bit of time. But like in traveling, we saw that other kids use tablets more than like TV. Like TV is not really a huge thing. So I don't know. My kid watches TV. She does a tablet occasionally, but I don't know. She just likes TV. It's bigger. I would too. She likes to play games, but you gotta check those all the time because you don't know what type of fucking games they're playing. And she gets into everything. Yeah. I don't know. I wrote down something about no early birds. Just when people put no early birds in their ads, and I just was thinking about like if you're driving by and you just see a sign, you go in and you're like, "Hey, I'm here for your sale," and they're like, "We're not open." It's just like, okay, why is your sign up? I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I'm super tired. I think I'm gonna put a pin in this and come back when I have a little bit more energy. Possibly this weekend. Possibly. Actually, I'm just gonna muscle through. I just gotta stop being a pussy. I don't have that much time left to do. Yeah, I kind of like went through everything. Been selling a little bit more on Facebook Marketplace. I like that because people come right to you. Sometimes depends on like. I really go by the name of whether I want to give you my address or not. I'll look and see if your profile picture has you with the middle finger up. I'm usually not gonna let you know my address. Or if you have like a Z in your name, you're definitely not coming to the house. No, I'm kidding. Most people, I'm like, all right, just come to the house. You know what I mean? It's not like shit that they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna rob you. You know. But if it's like a higher value thing, I'll like drive to the end of the street or go like, meet somewhere public. But Facebook, I mean, it's pretty typically, unless it looks like it's a fake account, it's harder. Sometimes they're just a boomer. Like I met a guy who was picking up CDs for me. It was like a $10 CD, bunch of CDs I just wanted gone, and he showed up, and like he didn't have like a profile picture on his thing or anything. He was just a fucking old guy who wanted some shitty CDs. So it's what it is. That definitely wasn't 23 more minutes. It was like barely 2 minutes. So, yeah, this week, I guess I'll go back to talking about fantasy for a little bit. I haven't really talked about fantasy football. My wife's out of it. And this week I've clinched both leagues. So this week I don't really have to do anything. I mean, kind of, but it's better to have more points. So it's like I'm taking it seriously, but it also doesn't really matter for me. So that's always fun. Makes me feel real good. Yeah, I'm officially like getting too tired to do this. So I'm going to cut it at 40 minutes. If I don't get back, it's just going to be a short one. I'm going to do an extra episode I think for Christmas, I'm gonna try and get a guest. I talk to my buddy, and then I want to do mushrooms, like not like a ton of mushrooms, but like just enough to be entertaining. Maybe drink some eggnog. Do a holiday episode, you know? Maybe sing some Christmas carols. It'll be fun. Anyway, thanks for listening. Maybe be back with more. Maybe not. But if not, you're getting a bonus episode either way. For free. For free. Alright, well, thank you so much. And hopefully I'll be right back. But if not, see you later. But if not, I'll be right back.